Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Sekani, a podcast for people in their 20s who are trying to figure out life and not get lost along the way. Today's guest is Alyssa Smith, a certified holistic health coach, functional nutrition counselor, and Enneagram practitioner. Before entering the wellness space, Alisa spent 14 years building a successful career in finance, leading major lending and business deals. From the outside, it looks like she had everything figured out, but behind the success, burnout was quietly taking its toll. After experiencing a complete physical and emotional breakdown, Alisa began rebuilding her health from the inside out. Today, she helps individuals and organizations prevent burnout through sustainable wellness practices, showing high performers that true success isn't just about achievements, it's about having the health and energy to enjoy the life you are building. Alisa, welcome to Conversations with Sekani. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Thanks, Sekani. Thank you for having me on. It's nice to meet you.
All right. Okay. So, yes, Alisa, I want you to take us back to your 20s, basically. So, who were you during that season of your life and what dreams were driving you then?
That's a great question. I think our 20s are such an exciting time. I felt like the world was my oyster. I was really eager to get out and see the world and prove myself. And I had been working since I was 14 years old. I had always had a part time job. And sort of in my 20s, I was really eager to do two things: travel and start a career. I was lucky enough to go to University of Southern California and just to have a really great start and network in Los Angeles. And I was thinking that I had spent some time in London doing an internship to wrap up my credits for university. And I had thought, wow, I want to travel internationally. I want to be in sales. I want a really big, glamorous job. Sorry for the background ringing. And and then I sort of realized that those two concepts might not match up so well, and that it was
Mm.
more likely that I needed to build a career that would afford me the life where I could go and see the world. And I started working in mortgage banking in Los Angeles with the idea or the dream to be to then move into New York, into London, perhaps working for one of the big banks or hedge fund. And I started at the very bottom, so to speak, checking loans, closing loans, and underwriting loans, and
Mm.
worked incredibly hard for someone that was 21 years old. 10-hour days at the desk, 2 hours in traffic every single day. And
Mm.
I learned so much. I just entrenched myself in it. And from there, started to build a career that wasn't always exciting, but the growth was incredibly exciting. And that's what motivated me.
Wow. All right. So from your story, you were an hustler, actually. You've always been hustling right from when you were 14, like you said. Wow.
Yes.
Okay. So what would you say were some of the biggest lessons, or should I say mistakes, you've experienced during that phase of your life, and how did they shape who you are today?
I think the biggest overarching mistake was focusing on on the output, on how things looked, um, not just on performance. I think that it can be really healthy to focus on our performance, but not balancing that with how it felt. And taking band-aiding, as I like to call it, to the next level. Just band-aiding
Mm.
over whatever was going on. Now, in your 20s, it's amazing because you're young, you can work long hours, you can travel, you can socialize, and your body's not really sending you any bills yet. But I think I was setting myself up for failure a little bit to not be as tuned in with what my needs were.
Wow. Ooh, all right. So I feel like we're going to discuss that actually, right? Because,
Yes.
most of us in our 20s, we all just want to, work hard, make sure we get the kind of life we want later in the future. As long as the money is coming in, right? But we don't really think if, you know, is this what we want, right? As long as it brings money, that is fine, right? So wow, I
Yeah.
love that we are talking about this actually. So, yes, I want us to talk about your journey, right? You describe yourself as someone who was winning on paper, right? So,
Yeah.
at what point did you realize that success wasn't translating into well-being?
It took a long time to realize it and a long time to do something about it. I would say I was at it for 10 years until the lattes in the morning and the Chardonnay in the evening and the Advil for every little ache instead of um, recuperating, regenerating, resting, reflecting. I think that sort of program probably lasted 10 years. And then it took a couple years to really commit to making changes.
Mm, wow, all right. So, another thing is, you know, burnout, right? It changed the direction of your life. So, what did that
Yeah.
experience teach you that years of professional success never could?
So, yeah, I think for me, it was coming to terms with the fact that as young people do, there's an age piece and then there's what I think is a female piece. So on the age side, I think we're sort of just focused on short term, and it's gotten even more so in the past few years, as I'm sure you've seen as well. We are so focused on instant gratification and short term
Mm,
results. And so I think that gets the best of you. And then on the other side, as a female, I don't think that we are primed or educated, guided, much less encouraged to tune in. Even just the
mm,
fact that we have a 30-day reproductive cycle, right? And what that does to every system of the body, not just our hormones, but our gut and digestion, our nervous system, our endocrine system, our mental health. Even just that piece isn't really brought to light at any point in
mm,
our lives. That's something we have to discover on our own. So I think um, the way that I approached things was very short term. And eventually I started to see my body just not responding to the band aids anymore that I was
mm,
using, and it affecting, well, and I paid sort of a bigger price. So, in thinking that, well, I just want to do it all. I want to have fun. I want to work hard. I want to be successful. I can sleep later. That's literally how I thought that I was getting ahead. But the body keeps score. The
mm,
body is taking note of everything that we are doing. And it's so divinely intelligent that it will reallocate resources to
mm,
keep you going. But that reallocation isn't always to our long term benefit, right? Your body
yeah.
might redirect resources and then conserve in one area and have to exert in another. Like the adrenals are a great example. And that was a big part of my burnout, was just my adrenals tapping out. They said, I can't keep overriding the lack of sleep, the
Mm,
overconsumption of coffee. I'm done. And that can happen. And and so I think for me, the idea of getting ahead ultimately led me to fall behind for a part of my career. Not very long, because I also, just from a physiological need, had to make changes. And that's when I really learned that our body is precious. It's also a tool that we have to take really good care of. Like we
Mm,
need to be shining that tool and storing it nicely and treating it really well, not just using it to get an end result. I don't know if
wow.
that answered your question. I hope it did.
Yes, it did actually. It did answer my question. And like you said, the body keeps the score, right? So whatever it is you're doing today, your body actually, stores those things. And at the end of the day, the results will show, right? So if you're not sleeping enough, I feel like it has, effects. There are like side effects to not sleeping enough and a whole lot of things, from diet to not moving to, a whole lot, right? So, in regards to that, I would like to ask you, right, what do you think are like some daily habits, or should I say practice, that one can begin today in order to just live like a much more healthier life, basically?
So first I'll talk about the foundations and then I'll talk about what
Mm,
I call rhythms, or you could call them rituals. And yes, they're a daily practice. But the foundations really are sleep, nourishment, not just food, and what we'll call nervous system care. And that's everything from making sure we're breathing, to getting that exercise, to having active relaxation practices.
mm,
Um, with those three foundations, our day should really be what I like to call bookended. So the beginning of our day and the end of our day are two bookends. The morning bookend is setting us up for physiological success in a few key areas. The first sort of daily ritual I would say is just foundational to health is
mm,
not looking at your phone when you wake up. That is the number one most accessible, free, and effective way to prime your nervous system for consistent good energy throughout the day. And
mm,
then replacing that habit with a more positive habit. So instead of reaching for your phone and scrolling, which automatically puts you into reactivity and fight or flight, sitting up in bed and just taking some really deep breaths and feeling your body. It can just be into your bed, on the ground, just inhaling for 4 and exhaling for 6 or 7. And something as simple as saying what you're thankful for or setting an intention for the day. As a mother of 3 and a woman, working in many areas, my favorite thing to set myself up for the day, my favorite intention is my day flows with grace and ease. And
mm,
I just think about my day flowing and it feeling really good. And that's how I start the day. And my nervous system is then primed to create that experience. So that is, I think, like the most powerful bookend. And for your nervous system, I think the second, good quality sleep actually starts the night before. I'm sorry, good quality sleep starts that morning and then is reinforced that
mm,
night. So in the morning, I like to get a little bit of sunlight on my eyes. It's pretty gray in Byron Bay today. It's not possible every single day, but most days I'm getting that sunlight, and that's telling my circadian rhythm the day is starting. We want to produce the right hormones. And then at night, we can reinforce that with a little bit of evening light on the other bookend. And that signals to our body it's time to wind down. That is another free, accessible rhythm. And that one supports sleep. So we've now got the foundation of nervous system and sleep. And the third is nourishment. And I think that breakfast needs to get some new PR. Like I think that breakfast, we're told, oh, it's the most important meal of the day. Eat your cornflakes, eat your Vegemite on toast. It is the most important meal of the day,
mm,
but traditionally it's really important what we eat. So the other habit that I think is so important is eating within an hour to an hour and a half of waking up and eating protein and fat. Let's get rid of anything that comes out of a box and let's eat some scrambled eggs, some avocado, and some tomato. Something simple, but really nourishing. And that tells your hormones, I'm safe, tells your brain, I'm ready to function. It gives it the food it's needing, and then you're set up for the day on that level as well.
Mm. Wow. Ooh. All right. So we touched on, the nervous system, sleep, and nutrition. Right. Very important. Wow. Okay. And one thing about I remember I spoke with a guest that said one thing about high achievers is they feel like they need to work hard just in when it comes to, the work environment and all. That's the only area they tend to improve, right? But they leave other aspects of their life. So the goal is not to become a high achiever, it's to be a balanced achiever, right?
Yes,
Yes, that is the goal.
a
So
whole person. I love that.
exactly.
Yeah, teaching them to be a whole person. We're so much more than just what we achieve, and that can be a fun game in life, and
Mm.
it can provide for us, but our little being needs to be taken care of.
Exactly. Well, and it just makes us happier, honestly, just happier and healthier as well, right? So, yes, talking about, being a whole person, right? So you're a mother, you've moved countries, you're raising twins, right? And also,
Yes.
you supported your husband through cancer, right? So
Yes.
I'm so sorry about that, by the way.
Thank
So,
you.
how did those experiences reshape your perspective on resilience?
Yes, that's a great question. Thank you. Um, I think that they require soft resilience, which is something that I strive for, to be resilient but not hardened. I think that each one ingrained deeper into me this idea, this belief that every single experience, even if it's really hard, is leading us to our highest good. It's not just making us stronger. It's not just what doesn't kill us make us stronger. I think it's a lot deeper than that. It's sort of priming and guiding us through the lessons that we have to learn and experience in this lifetime. And as that belief became more strong in me, it really changed me as a person because it's easy to be a victim and it's easy to be consumed with worry or fear because a lot of us want to control everything, right? I did. I wanted to control every aspect of my world. I wanted it to be perfect and happen the way that I thought it should. And the past, however many years since we started a family, I guess 6 years now, we've had a lot of lessons to show us we are not in control. The best thing that we can do is let go, have a little bit of faith, not just be positive, which I think positivity is beneficial, but to just trust that, and having that trust and that faith is probably the biggest change within me.
Mm. Wow. Ooh, all right. So yes, thank
We're going deep, Sekani. I like it.
yeah, we did actually, and I actually appreciate that, right? I appreciate the vulnerability. It just makes me feel like, yeah, we're connected, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
Alyssa, I want us to take lessons from what we've learned today, right? Because many young adults today, we feel this whole pressure to constantly achieve more, right? Most of us, it's almost like if we don't, we seek validation from achieving a whole lot, right? That is, that is where we get our validation, and that's where we feel like we're doing something, right? So how can someone, pursue big goals without having to, sacrifice their health along the way?
Mm. So I think it's sort of twofold. I think we, and I was actually reflecting on this the other day. I think certainly with young people, um, but even with our generation, it's this need to be seen and get external
Mm,
validation. And that need to be seen can drive so much behavior and effort that we might not engage in otherwise.
mm,
And so I think that one thing that I wish that I had done 20 years ago is connect, like connect to my own heart and to what feels good in my body to do. I think we are so disconnected now. We're so disconnected from our bodies, and I am to this day. Even when I look at my phone, I
mm,
notice I'm holding my breath. I'm not present.
mm,
And then when I get off my phone, I have to recalibrate to reality. And so I think that that has happened. There's the new generation has grown up with phones around them all the time. And that's really
mm,
shifted the way that we move through life. And so I think we really have to counteract that disconnection with connection. And so connecting in, tuning in, which means tuning out everything else, to ourselves, to our heart, to our inner knowing is just so valuable, whether that's done by connecting to a higher power, prayer, meditation, simply sitting in nature and observing the life, the literal life around you. Anything to get you to connect inwards is going to give us, I think, a more meaningful place from which to choose our path and choose how we expend our energy and spend our time instead of being so outwardly focused and just what are they doing? How do I keep up? How do I get seen? How do I do more? I think taking some time to intentionally do less and tune in would benefit everyone. The more I do it, the happier, more centered, and funny enough, more clear and productive I am.
mm. Exactly. Wow. Whew. All right. So it's about, connecting with yourself, right? Taking time to listen to yourself, spend time with yourself, take away, this whole external things that would, this whole distractions, right? For once, just think back to yourself. And funny enough, like you said, you even become more productive than,
It, you wouldn't
the,
think so, no, but I have to spend that time doing more. But sometimes if you turn your phone off, you put your feet in the grass, you let the sun
mm,
hit your face, you go for a walk with nothing on you, no trackers,
right.
no, then you come back energized in a
Mm,
different way.
wow. All right.
Mm,
So I think that is that's something I'll start practicing, right? Even though I go
love
for
that.
work, even though I go for work, I still take my phone along. So one day I'm gonna try to not take it. Right.
And
So
see what you notice. Like it might be a fun
yeah.
game. Like imagine all the things you're going to notice that we just don't notice when we bring our phone, myself
Hmm.
included.
Wow. Oh, all right. Okay, so thank you for that one actually. And yes, finally, I would like to ask, right, for every young person listening today, if you could leave this conversation remembering just one lesson, right? If they could listen to this and remember one lesson about success, health, and living a balanced life, what would you hope that lesson would be?
Success, health, and living a balanced life.
Mm,
Mm. Just that the human body was perfectly designed to feel so good,
mm,
and that part of success is enjoying being in the generous present moment and in your body, no matter what you're doing. And so making that a practice on your path to success is something you'll never regret doing.
Mm. Woo. All right. So yes, thank you, Alyssa, for that amazing one. And
Wow.
yeah, it brings me to the final segment of my podcast. I call it the rapid fire segment. You could
Okay.
you could either answer with a word or a phrase starting now. What is one word that describes your 20s?
That describes my 20s.
Yes.
An exciting, fun tornado.
Wow. Okay, all right. So what is one word that describes you now?
um, a living contrast.
Mm. Wow, interesting. Interesting. Okay, so would you prefer morning workouts or evening walk?
Both.
Oh, okay. All right. So what is one wellness habit that you never skip?
Oh, that's a good one. Um, I never really skip my meditation. It might be short,
Mm.
but it's always in there.
Oh, all right. And finally, what is one piece of advice every young adult should hear?
About health or life in general?
Life generally.
Oh, I think that you're just a precious being. You're further along than you think that you are. Stay true to yourself and never give up.
Mm. Wow. All right, like you said, never give up, right? So yes, thank you, Alyssa. This has been amazing, honestly. And before you go, where can listeners get to, learn more about you and also connect with you?
Yes. You can find me on my website and on Instagram. The handle is alyssasmithhealth.com for my website. And it's Alyssa Smith Health on Instagram. Do I need to spell it for him?
Oh yeah, yeah, you can, so people can, check it out.
ALYSSASMITH Health.
All right, okay. And I'm gonna put the link in the show notes so it's
Okay,
easily
great.
accessible for listeners. Right. And to
Amazing.
my you're welcome. And to my listeners, I want to say thanks for tuning in to Conversations with Sekani. If this episode sparked something in you, just as it did in me, make sure to share to someone you think might need this and also subscribe so you don't miss out on new episodes. Once again, thank you, Alyssa. This has been amazing. Do you have a wonderful day ahead?
You're an amazing host. Thank you for such great questions. This was really enjoyable. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All
And yeah, have a wonderful day. Bye.
right. Okay, you too.